So in this video, we're going to go ahead and actually put some platforms in the game. And what I want to do is take some grass blocks and just put them right along the bottom edge of the screen. So those look like the images folder, the tiles. All right, so we'll put some of the grass and the dirt right along the bottom edge of the screen. So we'll have a place for our hero to run. And then we'll also use this block tile to put a couple platforms up in the air so that eventually we can jump around from platform to platform. And since this is mostly a code video, I'm going to go ahead, get out of the way here, and get started. All right, so very first thing we need to do is just go ahead and load one of the platform images. And so the image I'm going to do first is this grass dirt, and then we'll do the block. And so I'm going to say this will be my grass dirt image is going to be pygame.image.load, and we're in kind of a complicated folder structure here. So we're in assets, images, tiles. And then, let's see, my file was called grassdirt.png. And then the other thing we have to remember is always when you're loading images in Pygame, we need to convert them to the Pygame image format. So we'll just put a convert alpha at the end. And this will just make them draw faster. And then so if you leave this off and the game gets big, you might find that it starts to get real laggy. And so we'll get the other image, we'll do our block image. And that is the block. Okay, so now let's go ahead and we're going to make a game class. And the block is, so we'll make a class, and this will be for a platform. And a platform is just going to be, any of the tiles that the character can like crash into and bounce off of, stand on. And so this is going to be an extension of a sprite. And we're going to make the initializer. Remember, it's always 2 underscores right here. Sometimes it's hard to see in a video, but this is called a dunder method. And so there's 2 underscores surrounding it. And so we'll do self. And it's going to have an X and a Y and an image. Okay. And so the very first thing we're going to do is we have to, since we are extending the sprite and we want to have all of the sprite functionality, we're going to make a call to super. So we'll do the super in it. And now so this initializes our platform with all the sprite code. And now we're going to go ahead and add our custom attributes. So we'll say self.image is equal to image. And I'm going to say self.rect is equal to image.get. Say self.image.get rect. And we want to give it an X and a Y. And this is where our grid system is going to come into play. So when we look up at our Windows settings, one of the things I could have done, I said my grid is 16 times the grid size. So that's 1024. I suppose I could have just said 1024 there, but I want to start thinking in terms of squares rather than in terms of absolute pixels. And here I did 9 times grid size, which is 576 pixels. And so the reason I set my grid size to 64 is because each of my tiles is 64 pixels by 64 pixels. And so this is going to make it easier for me to do the math as far as positioning things goes. So what I'm going to do here is I want to draw my first piece of grass, and I want to put it on the bottom edge, or when I put my grass on the screen, what I want to do is, or my platforms on the screen, is I'm just going to say the self.rect.x is equal to, and I'm going to do X times the grid size. And this means, so remember the old Mario grid. Let's say I wanted to put something 3 grid cells over and 10 grid cells down, I can just pass in 3 comma 10 rather than do the math to see the actual pixels. And I think this will make a lot more sense once we actually put them in the game. And I'm going to do the same thing for my y's. Okay, so we're going to be passing in small numbers. These are going to be the coordinates of the grid cell, not the absolute pixels. And this should take care of it for the platform class. Normally, right when we write sprites, we would have an update function in it, but platforms don't do anything. So I'm just going to leave the update function out. And this is all we need. So now let's go ahead and make a few. So I'm going to go to the setup area, and I'm going to think of my grass locations. And I'm going to make a list. And in my list, I'm just going to do a bunch of ordered pairs. So if I do one at 0, 8, right, what this means is I want to do 0 squares over and then 8 down. And 8 is going to be the right number because my screen is 9 high. So that means the coordinates of the cells will be 0 through 8. Okay, so we want to put it in section 8. And so then let's make a loop. And I'll just do, we'll put another one in here. And so now we're going to make a sprite group. Let's say I'm going to make my sprite groups, and I'm going to say platforms is equal to and pygame.sprite.group. And then we'll just say for loc in grass locs. And let's say I'm going to say the x is going to be loc 0, right? When you're looking at an individual ordered pair, that's the x, that's 0. And the y would be loc 1. And then, so the block, or the platform that we want to make is going to be, we're going to make a platform. And I'm going to do x, comma, y, comma, and I want to do a grass dirt image for the image for this. We'll pass that in. And then I'm going to say platforms add p. And so this makes our group of platforms, and now we've got to draw them. So I'm just going to go down here to the, I already have it. Okay, so I'm going to go down and make sure I have this line in here that says platforms.draw. Okay, ignore the other thing that I just deleted. That should have been edited out. All right, so let's run this. And there we go. We've got platforms going across the bottom of the screen. So if I want to add more, piece of cake, we'll go 2, 8 and 3, 8 and 4, 8. Make sure you're being careful with your parentheses. Because I am not. Okay, and now, this line, I want to do graphs all the way across the bottom of the screen, and you can see that, this line of code is getting kind of long. So it's totally okay when you're doing a list to hit enter in the middle of the line to have a nice line break here. And we'll just go here. Let's see, 7. So let's do 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And so let's run that. And now we get grass all the way across the bottom of the screen. So let's go ahead and add some platforms to jump on now as well. And so when I do my platform locations, we'll kind of follow a similar structure here. And I'm going to say and we'll just kind of, platform locus is equal to, make a list. And I want to go ahead and just put these up in the air. So the first one I'm going to put at 11, 5. And then we're going to do 12, 5 and 13, 5. So each of these platforms is going to be 11 over and 5 down, and 12 over and 5 down, and 13 over and 5 down. So these should be 3 side-by-side blocks. We'll just copy this. And you can see there's some code repetition here. So, probably we'll have to look at this later and see what we can do to consolidate it. But we won't worry about that for now. Only this time I want to do the block image. Actually, I should have said block lobes. And then block lobes. And so let's run this now. And we've got another platform here. And if I wanted to put more in, no problem. I think it's kind of nice to have maybe, because these 3 are in a set, so I'll put them on a line, and then I'll just go to the next line, and it'll be 6, 3, and 7, 3, 8, 3. Okay, so we get some more. So now we can maybe run and jump from here and then jump up to here. And I'm going to put one more on the ground just so we have something that we can run into. So I'll do another one at 7, 7. Right, and there you have it. So now we've got blocks and platforms, and so we kind of see how the map works out. So in the next video, we'll actually put our hero in the game, and then we'll start working on hero movement and getting it to run and jump. But in the meantime, go ahead and play with the code, and feel free to change the dimensions of your window so it can be maybe bigger. Add more grass to go across the bottom of the screen, add more platforms, make something interesting. And that's it. I will see you in the next video.